Trained by Fox podcast, been a long time. This week we have Tom Ames on, evolution coaching.
Evolution training, but everyone calls it evolution training.
Well, do you train people though, Tom? Come on.
Oh, that's true. I don't anymore.
You need to change it, mate.
Yeah.
Open up two. Have like training as yours and then the coaching as the business strategy.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, I'll let Tom introduce himself and then we'll dig in.
Right. So, I run evolution training. I'm a bodybuilding coach. I only coach competitors. I don't train non-competitors or lifestyle clients as they've been coined. I don't train those at all. However, the two coaches who work sort of under me and for me for evolution training, they do. They specialize in that. They focus on that mainly. Ben works with sort of people who are very new to it, sort of, straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
And Sarah's more sort of mid-range. I've been in the gym a few years, want to learn a little bit more, maybe thinking about competing later down the line. So they both hit the gaps where people want to sort of step in and where they're at currently. I've been coaching now for 4 or 5 years, but the first year or so was very, very slow. I only had like 2 or 3 people who I trained.
Is that when you were working the doors?
Sorry?
Is that when you was working the doors?
Yeah, so I was a bouncer for 3 years. That was probably like my second year, and then the final year after that, then I was coaching a few more people and doing doors, and then I sacked off doors completely. Did security in a government building for like 3 months. 6 months even, and then left that because coaching picked up so much that I was able, luckily enough, to transition over to just this.
You can look after your son then, Tom.
Yeah, better, much better. So doing that was cool. Got quite a good sort of run with my clients for the first few years, which definitely propelled me forward. I definitely got in at the right sort of time with coaching, with it becoming so saturated over the last few years. But I very much got in with some. I had a lot of friends in the industry as well, and when people saw that I was doing coaching, it was kind of lucky for me because they were like, "Oh, do you want to help me for this show?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So Brandon Harding, who Cal now coaches, when he worked with me, we did like, I think we did four shows or 4 shows together. And then Body Power as well. Oh no, so it would have been 4. So yeah, so I prepped him for all of those. But yeah, I worked with him because he trained out of one of the gyms that I trained out of. Yeah. And I trained his buddy Chris. Chris's first ever prep with me, won an overall at his first or second ever show, won the whole show. And then Brandon was like, "Oh, cool, Tom, can you help me then?" So that obviously propelled me forward quite a bit.
Well, yeah,
massively. I mean, it does. Social media does. Like, if you get someone with a good following and then they reshare you, working with evolution training, then it's gonna help you, and that's cool. But to get to that, you have to like really fucking like look at Cal. Like he has like so many pros wanting to come and work with him now. Like that in itself is only really like attainable once you've really demonstrated your abilities with the amateur ranks. If you constantly turning people pro and turning people, getting overalls and wins and stuff, you're gonna obviously.
You're going to attract the right people.
Yeah, you're going to attract the right crowd, and
it's like that. It's like that's where, essentially, though Cal's job's probably harder because there's a lot more demand on him and yourself. It's also easier because that kind of client, their mindset to work and adhere is going to be much higher to someone that is just going into the gym and stuff. Which, from your point, you're not. The reason you don't coach those people is because that's going to take so much more time out of your day than it is coaching amateur.
Yeah, if someone came to me and they were like, "Look, I used to compete. I want to do like a photo shoot or something, and I want to just do this," then maybe I'd consider like helping them out. Like I don't want to compete anymore, but I have done it. I'm adherent with this and whatever. But not, like probably not still, because like my ethos and my whole thing is like as a coach, my goal is to literally be the best in the country, flat turn the most people pro, most overalls, most pro wins, most Olympia titles. Like that's it. Like if I don't do that, then as far as I'm concerned, that was a failure. Goal within the next 10, 15, 20 years is be at that point and then be done with it. If you're training non-competitors, you're not etching further towards that goal. Like monetary wise, it'd be sound, but I don't give a fuck about cash. Like it don't mean anything to me. Like I'd rather just be coaching top tier athletes and making normal like average sort of salary. That'd be fine by me. I couldn't give a fuck. Like
your price mark says that as well. When we was talking at the thingy, we was like talking, and I was struck back by your, let's say your, we won't go into it, but your monthly charge. I was a bit like, Tom, like the results and the wins you've got, like, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, Cal was like, you need to jack up your prices. Like, yeah, I probably do. I will do towards the back end of this year. I do need to push more, but just because of the amount of time that you have to spend,
of course you do,
on those people, you know, as well. Like it gets to the point now where it's not really feasible anymore, and I might have to lose people, unfortunately, which will be a real shame. But it's part
exactly
of it.
That. I put my prices up. Again, we're not going to go delve into money, but I put my prices up, and how I kind of explained it to all my clients was, I want to run a pretty bespoke service, and I want to be available all the time. And to do that, I need to keep client numbers down. So I'm not like 100. I couldn't do what Cal does, 130 clients. And to keep that down.
Oh, has he finally counted it? Has he finally counted how many?
The last time I spoke to him, it was like 120, 125.
Yeah, he goes to he said to me, he was like, he seemed like he didn't want to talk to me about it. He was like, he goes, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I'm not going to count.
But for him, it's like, I think he's in Spain into this weekend, and I guarantee he's probably just put himself behind by like 3 weeks. So, but he manages. But coming away from that, so I want to delve into, because obviously this will be the first year I've coached competitive bodybuilders.
Yeah, I meant to ask you, how many have you got competing this year? Have you got a few towards the back?
I've got 3. I was a 4th one, but it kind of got to a point where he works shift patterns.
Yeah.
And then it ultimately and you're looking at the check-ins and you're like, we're gonna have to take you like to death's door, mate, and it's just not going to be good for family life. It's not going to be this. So we both kind of made the decision of let's not.
Yeah.
He's happy. So there's 3. They're all doing PCA. They're going to do the PCA first timers. For me, they're all on track. They're
all at first timers. They're all at first timers. Okay, cool.
Like one of them, and he won't mind me saying this, like, I've worked with him, known him years, and when I used to work with him, he'd send me a picture of his gut out, and he'd be like, "Oh, my top 2 abs are going," and I was like, "You have not got a clue, have you?" And now his abs are showing, and he's like, "Wow, how wrong was I?" And he's looking really well. I won't pull the pictures up or anything, but they'll all do well. And like one of them, I've instantly told he's going to do the 2 bros in November, because again, when we look at the criteria for PCA, he's going to be doing classic bodybuilding, and then doing classic for 2 bros. There's got to be some element of change, because you look at the guys who win the PCA and the guys that win the 2 bros, it's like they look like 2 different guys. That's just bodybuilding.
Yeah. Two bros seem to follow more. So no, this is not a knock at PCA judges if they listen to this. This is not a knock at the PCA as a general, because I do like the Fed, but the PCA seem to very much go for structure, conditioning, and obviously size in a very balanced level. Structure not being like a 40-50% factor. It's more of like at the 33, and but they still look at it to some degree, and so, you know, that sort of thing. Whereas with 2 bros, it's very much like, okay, I want to see structure, lines, shapes, symmetry, proportions, classic-esque as the most. Then I'm going to look at conditioning, and then I'm going to look at size, and it's like very much a balance in that line. Whereas PCA is a little bit more, it's similar, but a little bit more sort of leveled out. Yeah, that's what I seem to look from what I've seen. Because Gomez, who won the qualifier at the La Familia before the finals, he didn't go through to do it. He wasn't razor sharp. He wasn't absolute nails. He was conditioned enough to be on stage, but his shape was amazing. It was the best on stage, and that's why he won the overall.
From a classic point, that's why.
From a classic point, he hit the criteria for classic, as far as I'm concerned, as well, absolutely on the nail. He didn't go through to finals for whatever reason, but you know, but with PCA, it's very much sometimes they just look more for conditioning and just who's the better bodybuilder rather than the actual classic lines, which is fine, because it's cool, because you just tailor the athlete's conditioning to that. You just dial them in absolutely inside out, and you sacrifice a bit of fullness sometimes. But you know, it's one of those things where you just have to look at what they want. But it's the same for any class. Like that leads on to what we was going to talk about the other ranks and stuff. So.
But then going to that now, let's divert. when you've kind of prepped somebody who's probably done 1 or 2 shows, they're looking to do whether it's the Two Bros final or PCA final, and you're prepping them for that, and at the same time you've got, let's say, a pro athlete, and you're prepping them for their first or second pro show.
Yeah.
Right. Like from my point is I was looking at, say, the Alicante this weekend. I've seen some guys and I'm like, oh, they don't look as razor sharp, but they place relatively well in comparison to a qualifier.
Yeah. I think if you're doing like with finals, so if you look at, like, say, PCA finals, what I always try and do is save like 5% left in the tank. Like, save a tool that you've got. Like, if you've had to go down to everything for food wise, cardio wise, expenditure wise, whatever, fat burners, the lot, if you've had to dig all of that out for a qualifier, you're probably not going to be able to improve too much by those finals. Whereas, like, if you do so like there, you would just be trying to bring as much conditioning out. Like everyone always saves a little bit for the finals. You'd be stupid not to. You like all the toned figure girls, by the time they get to finals, they're a lot sharper than they were. They like hold back and go for the toned look, and then for finals they're like, right, let's fucking go in. We're gonna get closer towards athletic, which is cool, because then it still balances out really nicely on stage. And then same with the bikini girls. They're all a lot harder at finals always, and the lighting at finals for PCA is really good too for the whole venue. Brilliant lighting, really good venue. Whereas obviously pro shows and pro competitors and pro criteria, you have to look at more of a balance across the whole board. Whereas, because you have to hit the criteria that those specific judges want to see in that region at that show, and the balance across it. So, for example, right, so speaking about Sarah, being that she's, my pro bodybuilder on the team, so we've had a look at what the girls look like. Now, it seems that the American judges like a fuller, not as crisp look. They like full but conditioned but slightly spilled. That's the look that we sort of roughly got out of it, like slightly spilled, nice and full, not 100% there. Whereas in Europe, they seem to like dry, hard nails, get everything off, fucking striated up the fucking wazoo. So where you put her in with the judges will be where you end up with what you get in there. So.
Rhea Gale, she I was sat next to her at the British finals, and she was kind of saying that she was like a bit shook by her shows she'd done away, like just disheartening, because I've always got used to being crisp, and then these I'm being marked down for probably needing to be a little bit fuller.
So it's a weird one. Like it's odd, because but then what do you then bring to the Olympia? Because your judging panel isn't going to be European judges, it's going to be that softer look. So are you better off just qualifying in a States show anyway, and then holding that look, rather than diving down to insane conditioning, then trying to find some fucking poggle on the way back up, and then that's going to psychologically fuck with them, and then they're going to be like, no, I was crisp, and I'm like, yes, I know, but we don't need to do that for this one, otherwise we won't. It's weird, because as a bodybuilder, you're taught dig in, get lean, but at pro ranks, it's like, no, hang on, hit the mark where it needs to be, not too far, not too under. So maybe
that's what Neil Hill's client was doing at the British. Coming for figure.
Yeah. He was going for wellness, mate. From what I saw, those big old glutes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a result. That was questionable, so to speak.
I was talking. Who was I can't remember, but was in the crowd.
You were there, weren't you? You was watching.
Yeah,
the atmosphere just did this. Oh, okay.
Everyone dimmed down, and everyone was like, obviously, everyone has their favorite. Like, who I was sat amongst, they was big Joe Ballinger fans. Ballinger, and I was like, yeah, he looked phenomenal. Yeah. And then like you've got like in my head, I had a perspective of, right, are these judges? Because it's not a dieting contest, is it? It's not a diet. It's a bodybuilding contest. But then he probably had a lot more, because I remember Ballinger saying on his YouTube that he came in for the qualifier softer because he didn't want to bring his best, because he was bringing his best.
Yeah. He was butters at the qualifier, and he knows he was. He won't mind me saying that. And he trains the same gym as me, so he knows he was. He literally walked out of there and was like, "Oh, it's a bit disappointing, but whatever." I was like, "Yeah."
There you go. So then. And then he came in soft, and then when he went to the finals, he brought his crisp look. And I always that guy. He was 5-6 weeks out, whatever. But every time anyone looked at me, I was like, well, maybe he knew that he was going to win and he was not bringing his best to the finals. And he was just going to pick up his pro card on his way past and he's going to bring his crispier look on the next one. Like, come on, stop being drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, just tactically bringing your worst to the finals. That's an interesting one. But then the thing is, if you were so in my opinion, from that super heavyweight class, if you were going for straight up conditioning and an overall shot for shot sort of thing, Connor wins it.
Connor, yeah, he would.
Yeah, if you're going for like a shot for shot, who wins the most? Connor. If you go for an overall balance of conditioning, fullness, symmetry, not sort of coming close towards the top shot, top in all of the shots, like who's the most? Then Joe. And then obviously, if you're going for that enormous, like freaky size thing, but like actually being in shape, that's Josh. And then this other guy, like I just had him fourth. Like I was like I never had him anywhere near the top.
And he did kind of get better the more.
Yeah, he got harder, but
I think that was just because he managed to sweat out a lot of water. Because he was
like, don't get me wrong, he was the most muscularly dense guy on that stage. Thick. He must have been 260.
What brought Neil to the show? Like, I've never seen him. I think the only show I've ever seen him at is I've not been at the Olympic. I saw him. I was like, is that Neil? But anyway, because I said it to Zach was there. Who's obviously Cal's coaching him now, and Zach was just like, yeah, it is. And you're not going to go say hello, mate. But anyway, coming away from that. Sarah, so we previously spoke 20k steps a day average.
Yeah. So she works in a warehouse for the time being, but on the prep she sent me a check-in one day, and it was like listing her step count for the week and everything. I was going through it, and it was like 18, 20, 21, 22, 20, 32, 20, and I'm like, hang on, whoa, stop, hang on.
Like 140k steps a week.
Yeah, 32,000 steps in one day, and I'm like, go back to it. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, it was a really busy day. And I'm like, sorry, you're down like 2 kilo in a week and you're on contest shape. Like, you're literally just burning through muscle. We need to find a stop here. Like, we need to stop.
You look like a starved African. God bless us.
Honestly, fucking hell. Like, her carb up for the first show, where she somehow looked more alive, was 900 grams of carbs total.
Wow, okay.
Her carb up for the second one was 1,600 grams of carbs.
Ooh.
Yeah, where she still looked over dieted. So if we hadn't pulled out that, I don't know what, like how strong we really had to fucking like find something to do. Yeah, but now that she's going to have more control over that, going into being a bodybuilding coach and doing all of that, with work tapering down, hopefully, then she should have massive control over it in her off season, because we cannot do that again. We just cannot.
No, she'll smash coaching because she's so relatable. She's so humble, and I think. The only time I've heard her talk more than 2 words is when she's been on stage, when she received her overall and stuff. Yeah. And just as she comes across as she's a people's person.
Yeah. She's very likable.
Yeah. Coming from a warehouse environment, she's gonna have been around a lot of different kinds of people. Yeah. Like, anyone that speaks to me, I was like, boy, so you're gonna just go from like not being a PT or anything to being an online coach. Like, your life is quite secluded. Like, at least go and get a fucking job in sales or at a nightclub or something and actually talk to people. Like, you've got to have some understanding of.
Yeah, I mean, I think a confidence thing as well is really, really useful with moving into any job when you're dealing with a ton of people. So as a bouncer, weirdly enough, you weren't just telling people to fuck off, don't come in, you're too drunk, but you would also be speaking to people and looking after people. I'd be there doing first aid for girls that had gone and cut their foot open on a piece of glass, or whacked their head, or a bloke who'd just been punched in the face. I'd be sorting him out and splitting, just calming him down. You learn different ways of talking to different types of people, and if you're able to talk to a drunk person and somehow coherently get something through to them, you're probably going to be pretty good going forward.
You talk to a bodybuilder that's moaning about low carbs. Is that
it's the same process.
Oh yeah, well, I once saw this woman who cut a foot, and you're just the same, mate. Come on, you're a 6-foot bodybuilder.
Similarities, yeah.
I saw your trader recently, the Strom one.
Yeah, that's cool.
What's going on with them?
Well, I'm sponsored by Strom, so yeah.
I know easier, but like, are they within their kind of collaboration with you? Or are you going to be doing like? Well,
this is the thing. I need to go up and see Rick, and we need to have a catch up properly, because we haven't actually spoke properly since since he took me on. We haven't like gone and sat down and literally just had a chat for like a good hour about what he wants to do going forward. But I don't think I'll have any input on anything sort of supplement wise. That would be cool, like to have a little look at like what
you could have like you could almost have I don't know, like a venue, because you're very hands-on with your clients.
Yeah.
You can do like a fucking evolution training day.
I mean, yeah, that would be kind of cool. That would be like, especially there, so they can go and get some strong stuff. They've got the gym there. Well, not a gym, what it's called there. They've got, you know, all that sort of stuff. So maybe I'll sort something with Rick. That's not a bad idea. Later down the line, me and sorry,
get Spectre and film it.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, definitely. You can't go anywhere without Jay. You fucking like, if I go to the supermarket, I'm like, right, come on. Right, let's pay your daily fee. Come with me, mate. You're filming me pick up cereal and go. So I use this cereal. No, so it's cool. Like, yeah, it's good. It's good to be with them. They're a reputable company. I have like literally been using their stuff for so fucking long. So it's good because it slots in nicely. Like it's not fake.
You always seem to revert. Like I find that I always seem to revert back to this. Like I'll be, let's say, supplement needs bring out a pre. Yeah. I always seem to find my way going back to Vascumax or Stimumax.
Yeah, I mean, I have ordered some of that carrot cake whey that everyone doesn't shut the fuck up about. Like, so I've got some. Yeah.
See, Strom's is bang on, but I'm just like, can you get like a 5 kilo bag of this? Because I'm sick of buying these little tubs.
Yeah. I'm happy to pay. I don't really care. Like, you know, so I've got the Perform on that carrot cake one because everyone was blithering on about it. I'm just going to give that a go and see what that's like because I do like a carrot cake. So maybe it'll remind me to drink my morning protein shake and actually get enough protein in for the day.
Before you start your check-ins and then find out you fasted till like 2 p.m.
If I hadn't eaten that pasta and chicken earlier on, it would be 2:30 p.m. with no meals. Yeah, I had the shake this morning, but that was a quick 30 gram, whatever that'll do, and then
get in touch with Cal and see if we can get you a sponsor with Precision. Get your meals done for you. But right, I'm trying to think. There was one more area I want to touch on. Right, okay, so going back to Sarah's training.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily just Sarah, but let's say from coaching a amateur to coaching a pro level athlete. Yeah. Training volume, frequency, intensity.
Like, okay, so if you're looking at a pro who's already in the criteria for their class and they don't want to move up, you don't look at everything as progressive. You look at a lot of stuff as maintenance. So Sarah's back and Sarah's legs, for me, need to come up from what we're looking at. She was losing a couple of the back shots to Kitty, and her legs died a little bit in from show to show. First one, they were great. Second one, they died a little bit. So we need to keep the fullness even more so all the way through, so we can time it right for the specific shows, and jumping in at certain places and whatever we do, whether it be Europe and then abroad and then back to Europe, or whether it just be two USA shows and then back to Europe, like whatever we end up doing to try and qualify for the Olympia next year. So for her, like, it's a case of just build up literally enough so that there is some to spare, just in case we do end up dieting for a period of time, and there's nothing that we can do in terms of that. And then obviously looking at an amateur, I mean, especially if they're an amateur bodybuilder, they've probably got weak areas that need to come up. They've probably got stuff that needs to be brought up. You can guide, like you could go through a plan in massive, like I probably need to go in more detail for an amateur than I do for Sarah's programming. Like I don't oversee all of Sarah's training anyway. Like a lot of stuff she just does on her own, but I'll say, okay, we probably need to pull back on this because your arms are getting too fucking big. Like, because that's a problem she has.
Do like a needs analysis and then say,
right. Like, and it's like, and it'll change from it. When you've got someone with genetics that good, and same as like Ross or same as Johnny, like, or any of the other guys and girls that work with really good genetics, sometimes it's like, okay, stop training that as much because it's getting too fucking big and it starts to look weird on your physique. So, something that you need to, I mean, for example, so I'm taking on Connor Fairbairn.
The name rings a bell.
The guy who got second at the Brits
Yeah.
So I'm taking him on to go and do the finals. Not finals, to do the Muscle Contest Ireland, and then one before that. Sorry, the Spain or something. Yeah. I think he said we're going to talk about that soon. Actually, to be fair, what he wants to go for. But we literally I'm not going to get him to be training delts with anything really direct. Like if he gets a bit from his chest work and his back work sound, because they're so fucking freaky, he doesn't need to do anything more for them. Otherwise, they're just going to
more recovery demand, isn't it? In essence,
it's just eating into recovery that we could be spending on something else.
I saw that Joe done that with some of his clients, where they're doing like a men's physique, a pro men's physique kind of thing, and it's like Porridge Gains is his name.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I just don't think I'll be training legs. And I was like, why is that? Recovery demands. I was like, wow. I like that, but I'm like, I don't think your 60-year-old self is going to appreciate that. 5 knee replacements because your upper half like 10 kilos heavier.
I mean, it will work, but like, you know, I think a little bit of leg training here and there would still be fine. But
I think they've got a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's just not a mad priority, is it? You know, Same with like, you know, if you get anyone with those freaky body parts, like freaky legs and stuff. Like I remember Joe saying about Christian, he got Christian to just fucking stop training back for like 5 months or 4 months or something like that. He's like, it's just too big. It's like just barely do anything for it now. But now he is. But before, at one point, I don't think they were really training much back.
Lex Lewis said, didn't he, in one of his earlier stages, that he didn't train the lower body for like an entire year to allow his upper
body to catch up. Yeah,
I'm thinking, that's elite genetics.
Same with Branch Warren. Branch Warren used to stop training legs for a month before
he injured himself.
Well, no, he had, like, but when he was okay, he used to stop training legs for a month before a show to let them harden up. I don't know if that works or not, but
probably had a 5 guys the night before to replenish his
drive intramuscular something.
What's Tom's plans this year? Are you managing to train yourself? Are you managing to train?
Oh God! So I trained this week, which was cool. So I literally 1 push session, 1 pull session, 1 leg session, and then that's it for the week. Like if I can manage to fit them in wherever I fit them in, cool. If I don't, then I just try to do like a full body sort of split 2 times a week. I just don't like. I do have the time, but I'd rather be spending my time paying more attention to clientele and work and stuff. You know,
and it's just kind of that, like you do that for 10 to 18 months, that goal you were talking about earlier on, it's just 2 years earlier, isn't it? You've just maximized it. What's you're coaching Yanis, aren't you? What's his name?
Yannick.
Yeah. How's he getting on?
Pretty good, to be fair. Jan's really good to work with. Just you know, genetically very blessed, shape-wise, structure-wise, whatever. Conditioning struggles to get through his glutes, like, you know, typical sort of like just can't get that last little bit off thing, no matter how calories are pulled, and then it drives him too far, and then it's like, oh fuck, okay, so refeed him, chill him, then dig in a bit. So we're gonna need to cycle his food a lot more. Not like because cycling carbs works in any other way than a normal split setup.
Just dig him deep down.
Dig him deep. Yeah. Okay, rest, chill. Okay, dig deep. Like it's just gonna be that continuously. So
you can't dig someone deep that long.
No, especially when they're already lean everywhere else, like, you know, because everything else just starts stringing out. But he's good. Yeah, he's going to be really good for the Welsh, and then I've got 3 doing the Welsh, maybe 4, no 3, and then I've got a couple of others. You know, hopefully should be taking at least 10 to finals. I think that'll be cool.
When's Ben Shepherd?
But me and him have been talking about that. Not too sure yet. We were thinking about first timers PCA, which he signed up for.
Is that the 10th or is that the Midlands? Which one?
No, first timers as in the actual the 26th or 25th or something. So it's the first timers show.
Yeah.
So then Ben is so Ben's going to be doing that, and maybe we might move that registration and go do the London instead, and then just do a first timers show earlier on, so I can actually see how he looks. Do
the London, Tom. We'll get an Airbnb, mate.
What getting to do the London?
Getting to the London one.
There's
the free that's doing that show.
Oh, they're all doing the London one. That first timers one. Oh, sick. Okay, cool. Okay, sound.
That might work because one's doing men's physique, one's doing short ass bodybuilders, and then the other one's doing classic bodybuilding. Okay. So we was like looking at hotel accommodation, and I was like, mate, I'd rather almost put a few £100 down and get a crib.
Have to, yeah, definitely saw that.
If Ben does that, because I know Ben on a personal level as well,
Yeah.
We could sort that out. And then,
that'd be cool. I'll talk to him about it. See if he's still willing to keep going all the way through to that. He's very much on his way. All right,
he just needs to like.
He's just very much more concerned at the moment. Like, seems a bit more concerned about wanting to grow and getting bigger again. And it's like, that's cool, but the leaner we get at this point, the better that growing phase will be.
Rebound. Imagine, like, you look at, like, I always use Cal as an example here.
Yeah, good example.
Amount he put on in a year, and watching it, it wasn't relaxed or it wasn't easy. It was very uncomfortable. But if somebody can do 50% of that, they're at a pretty damn successful.
I mean, £200 on stage up to what's he going to be next time? 250?
Yeah.
On stage, I think 250 on stage. Yeah. I mean,
if he gets on stage.
Good rebound out of it, controlled, get to a maxed out point, tidy again, rebound, control, tidy, and then again, and then one final go. Bloody hell! If you can do that over a year, that's a madness.
You're dead.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. Well. Anything you want to touch on? You taking?
I mean, there's a few things. Yeah, I mean, how long do you normally run these for?
I aim for an hour because otherwise
there's stuff to touch on. We can always talk about the questions I get asked every 5 fucking minutes, like the peds.
Let's do the 5-minute questions. What protein do you take?
What protein? Strong. The velocity weight.
Code.
Well, that's the one that you get like asked. Like one of my buddies, Nick Anderson. So Nick's like 350 pounds in his off season.
350 pounds.
Yeah, 6'4", 350 pounds. Benches like 220 for like 10 or something stupid. He's quite a large gentleman. Yeah. He's natural. No, he's not natural.
He takes creatine.
He takes a lot of creatine. No, he's a monster. A Scottish guy, and he was telling me that it was his first night out. And like, he put it on Facebook. He's like, it's my first night out in like however many years, going out for drinks with the family, the missus, whatever it was, just going for a bit of a. He goes, so I'll write the answers to the questions now that I'm going to be asked on this night out. I bench about 250. Yes, I eat a lot of protein. Yes, I go to the gym. I take testing Deca normally. And he was like answering, like, when people go to, hey, what do you take? You're fucking massive, you are.
And they've normally got like a spray on t-shirt on.
Yeah, pretty much.
You remember that? You could tell me, like, when was your bouncer again?
Oh, mate. So I got some stories from doing doors.
Here we go. We're coming away from the questions.
Oh, fuck bodybuilding. Yeah.
Tom's bouncing.
We'll talk about bouncing. Bloody hell, man. I've done pretty much most of the venues in Worcester, and I was, like, don't get me wrong. Oh God, you're right, mate, down there.
I have to sit down for this one.
Oh, you're sitting down. Are you slowly moving the camera down to you?
I'm moving the desk.
Oh, I was going to say.
I followed Joe Jeffrey desk.
Standing desk.
Yeah.
To burn more calories, genius. I just sit on my ass all day. But okay, so
you still burn calories because you just don't eat.
yeah, pretty much. Oh right, bloody hell. Well, one of the worst ones I had was outside the front of a venue called Drummond's in Worcester. So I was a bouncer there. I was on the front door with one of my buddies who's also called Tom. He's like British champion in judo or something. Short, stocky guy, like very, very fucking good at his job and very good at scrapping when he needs to. I mean, we turned away. These 2 lads came to the door. It was quite a quiet night. 2 lads came to the door. They were drunk as fuck, and I was like, they were like being really weird as well. I think they were sniffed up too. So I literally said to them, I was like, look, boys, it's like you have to try somewhere else. Not going to be able to come in today, unfortunately. Try one of the other bars around the corner, maybe. And they were like, oh, fuck off, blah, 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 blah. Gave us a bunch of shit. And I was like, all right, whatever, lads, off you go. And then they sort of turned. They stood back into the middle of the road. They ran at us, both of us, like simultaneously, like left and right sort of shit. Really weird. Grabbed my coat, like ran at me against the wall. I was like, oh, fucking hell. Didn't expect it in the slightest. Just totally unprovoked. Not a squaring up. And was like really random. Then Tom had one. Tom's got caught off guard. He's had to like grab one guy's arm. He's like pulling him round and lugging him about and, you know, whatever. And he's obviously like wrestling with this. I try not to fucking like destroy him. This dude's grabbed me. I knock his hands down like that. I hit him at the side of the head because it's fucking, I don't know what he's going to do. He's going to like assaulted me. I'm not going to sit around for it. I hit him inside the head. My hand bounced. I was like, the fuck? Adrenaline's going. He drops in like a sack of shit to the floor. I put my foot out and he bounces off my foot and I sort of catch him almost so he doesn't hit his head on the pavement. The dude had a metal plate in his head and I hit the metal plate.
Ooh,
so my hand was fucked. I broke the, like one of the bits of my, it's like fractured it. It was all puffed up, swollen to oblivion. I could barely move my hand properly for like 2-3 weeks. So this dude had like dropped, you know, police turned up, whatever, asked me to give a statement, all of that shit. I only find out 2 or 3 weeks later that the police were pestering him to put in a charge against me. So because I hit him, they would go. They went to go put. They like were like, no, you need to press charges. You need to press. They're like fucking like on the CCTV. It's really clear that he runs at me, but they're like, oh no, let's get the bouncer done. I was like, fuck me, that's fucking bad. Like
that is bad.
It's last time. Well, after I found that out, I was like, well, it's last time I fucking helped them on the. Like when someone gets kicked out of venue and they're like wrapping someone up, I'm just gonna fucking like after that I was like, oh, I'll fucking leave them to it if that's what they want to do to bouncers. You know, I didn't really like that too much. It wasn't very good. That was pretty mental. Yeah, like I never saw him again after that, but I got told about it. I got told that obviously that was going on. That was really crazy. But yeah, like my dude, like the amount of people that you see when you work as a bouncer, when you work in security on nights out, and how fucked up they get, it makes you realize like some people like literally live all the way through the week just so that they can go and do that, and then they just go back to work literally like nothing ever happened.
Just try and survive the week, don't they? To get
mental, yeah. I don't think I could live like that personally. Like if people do it, that's cool, but it's just not really for me. It just seems a bit like kind of pointless, bit of a pointless existence. Whereas like, you know, if they want to do it, cool. But yeah, my third ever night as a doorman on the student night, there was a kid went into the go do all the checks on the toilets, just leaving, like, okay, anyone in here, just closing up now, all of that sort of shit. Went in, check the men's, check the ladies, anyone in here? No, cool. Member of staff goes, there is still a girl in there. I was like, oh, fuck's sake. Go to the toilets to go and check. I'm like, oh, you're right, love. And I go get one of the female members of staff and I say, look, you need to be here with me just to
give him birth.
So I don't get done for anything fucking weird here. Yeah. So I go to push the door open like that, and I'm like, oh, is she there? And so, oh yeah, she passed out. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake. She had passed out on the toilet, head against the toilet roll holder thingy, head against that. She had thrown up all over the floor. There was like shit stains all up the fucking toilet, and she's like pants down, like leggings down, like this lovely dress is all like fucking bundled over her. She's like in a complete fucking state. And we literally, oh my God, right. So pick her up and everything, like sort her out, like get one of the girls to help her with the clothes, sort of, you know, everything, get her to try and basically I basically carry her over the sick that she's vomited up. Take her down like to the front door bit. We take her out.
Yeah.
That's just we keep people out when we carry her out, and then she's absolutely fucked. I'm like, oh God, I can't really leave her like this. It's not fair. Like, you know, anything could happen to her. Take it. Walking her along, she's really like out of it. And then I said, oh, well, we need to get you in a taxi. And then she's like, oh, you know, oh, I haven't got any money, this and whatever. I was like, okay, well, I'll take you to McDonald's because it's around the corner and your friends might be there. So I was like walking her up there, and she's like, oh, can't I just come home with you? And I'm like, absolutely fucking not. I was like, one, no, I'm not single. And two, no, thank you. Take her to the McDonald's. It's a shame of me to say this, but I did get her into McDonald's and I saw people that she knew and she was like waving at and all that sort of stuff. I was like, right, my job here is fucking done. I'm out. Like, you're really not my problem. I left, I was went. But yeah, very weird. Third night of doors. I was like, if that's what it's going to be like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. But,
you need protection, mate. You need
crazy, man. Fucking.
I remember my sister's fella, Dave. He used to work the doors in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And he says like, I think the club was like Oceana or something. I can't remember the name of it. But he was saying, and he quit the doors because he got to a point where he was paranoid and he had anxiety because there was cars that he says, I know the cars that follow me. And he says there was some like gang around Nottingham that he upset one of them by kicking their little teammate out or something. Okay. He says every single night, he says, I just felt the same car was following me. And he says I'd have to dive or I'd do this, and he says he just played hell, and he changed clubs, and then he had
it's been known to happen. Yeah, it's been things like that have been known to happen. One of my buddies, Will, was on the door in Blackpool, working down there. You get paid a lot more for doing that. Like you get paid fucking rough. So he's down there, and he's with this guy. He's not worked with him before. This guy's been working doors for a while, and he had pissed off someone down there. They ended up kicking someone out of this club or whatever. He went and drove off, got in a car, smashed out his fucking head, kicked him out for fighting or something. He drove off. He came back with a fucking shotgun and fucking shot at them at the door. Luckily from fucking miles away, so a shotgun doesn't go too far. And if it does hit you from far away, it hurts, but it's not gonna kill you. Right, yeah. It's gonna hurt like that, like if you shot from far away. So he did that, and but then they literally, as soon as he done, he grabbed this other dude. They went in, they fucking shut the doors there and then with the people all scattering, running off. Like what the fuck? Got the the posts that have like where the
secure the door,
like the stands where they line people up against them. Got one of them, put both of them against the door like that. Ran up there, went and told everyone, got everyone to go out the back exit like that, and it was just like a speed run, get them out the fuck. Scary shit, really fucking mad. Like all he did was kick this dude out for fighting, and he comes back with a fucking gun. Like
I remember Nottingham though. There was once me and one of my old mates. We went into this nightclub. And there was this woman dancing, and I was like dancing with her. And then this geezer comes over to me, pats me on the back, and he goes, "She's with me." And he opens his jacket, and there's a pistol in his pocket. So I run to my mate, like, let's go to the next one. Let's go. Let's go. It's like people just carrying guns around.
It's fucking mad. But I mean, like to finish the bounce of stories, the funniest one was the guy who had a brick of cocaine on his strapped to his ankle, like wrapped around there, in his sock, like tucked away, like a fucking massive wad of it, and it just come out of the club. His nose was covered, his beard had all fucking flakes in it and everything like that. And he's like putting his hands up, shouting some weird sort of God shit like that off his head, just off his nut. And we were all like, "All right, mate, whatever." Police literally come up. I'm like, "Oh, you're right, buddy. What are you doing there?" And he's literally showing us the cocaine on his ankle and everything. Like, "I fucking had this. I'll fucking make more money than all of you, blah, blah, blah," all of this crap. Please come, bundle him up in the car. Off you go, mate, nicked.
Hey, imagine that. That's your life done.
Fucked. Yeah. I don't think he was selling it. I think he was just off on a mad.
Showing it,
mad bender.
Yeah. What? Let's go to the questions now then. What's the most common question? What's the most... You could probably look at your phone and see the last one that was posted.
Oh, what? Like most
recent and then most common.
Oh, the most common for me on there is, what cycle can I do to get shredded?
Wait, so let me alliterate this. So somebody messaged me yesterday after, and I won't go into, and this is no negative if you're listening to this, we discussed this. He's been coaching him for a week, and he messaged me saying, "What killer cutting stack can you put me on?"
Oh, yeah. Not the same sort of thing.
Absolutely none.
Yeah.
There isn't none. There's probably a killer stack that will probably kill you, but yeah.
I mean, that's the one. It's like, "Oh, my diet's all good and everything. What do I need to take to get shredded?" And I'm like, well, if you're saying to me, if you're saying the words, "My diet's all good and everything," I'm going to take a hazard guess that your diet isn't any good at all. I'm going to have a guess that you barely know what you're doing and you're barely eating properly, or you're eating far too much and you're cheating on your diet every 5 seconds. Like, it's going to be one of those things. You're not going to really have anything sort of set up. It's very common, isn't it? I mean, I think we're fading out of it a little bit into this day and age, where people getting more into like understanding stuff, and with the amount of information that's put out, we're slowly turning people over. Which is nice.
There's a lot more. And it's like none of it's safe. Like, just don't do anabolics if you're looking for the safer approach. But there's, from even when I was younger, and some of the, say, cycles or advice I was getting, everything was in mil.
Yeah.
There was no one. I don't even think any. I thought people just equated milligram to like food dosages or something. And then now it's evolved.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I was sort of told when I first got into it as well. Like, it was like, "Oh, I'll do 2 mil of cyst a week," and I'm like, all right, okay. Like, you know, or 2 millisecond. I'm like, what dosage? Oh, I don't know. Just get out for my mate and just do that. I'm like, okay.
They're not selling it.
Yeah.
No offense, this guy, but I remember going into a gym and I specifically asked for just testing anthe.
Yeah.
And then he opens the bag and he's like, oh, I've got none of that. And there's all these bottles and tubs in there, and not one of them had a single label on. And then he pulls one out and says, oh, what about, let's say, TTM or Trend Rip or fucking Rip Blend? And then he get it and he get this sticker book out and he just pull a sticker out. And I was like, how do you know? He said, oh, it's color coded. I'm like, they've all got a white lid on. And I literally, like, even, no, I won't admit this, but stupidly probably listened to him and went home and probably.
Fine, I'll take it then. I'll see
Yeah.
what this is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. No, we used to, where I was at one of the gyms I trained out of, the guy who ran the gym used to go on holiday to Egypt 2 times a year. So he used to just bring back suitcase full and just literally just give it to everyone in the gym. We used to just buy it all off him. So it was either fake. It was either fake or fucking amazing. It was one of the two. You never got anywhere in between. It was either sustenance shot that just put fucking absolutely pounds on you, like 7 pounds in a week shit, or
we're spending your weekend on the doors and seeing what everyone else is doing. It was an easy gamble, wasn't it, Tom? Yeah, fuck it. People are doing much worse.
Yeah, I'll just do this. Yeah, no, but like, I mean, like when I was younger, yeah, I was a bit of a fucking idiot with that sort of stuff. Like definitely looked at that bad advice and sort of, you know, was like, oh, that's what you must need to do, because I was on Professional Muscle before him, and that was not a great source for info. It was good for a good basic understanding, but it was very American, and Americans, from what I'm seeing now, are still 5 to 10 years behind the UK.
Yeah.
They just are, and they will get that catch up, but they pay more attention to anecdotal evidence rather than actual studies. There are a fair lot that do know what they're looking at, obviously, but you know, there's very much like, you know, anything that modern that comes out gets passed around and it's backed up by something. Whereas in the States, it's very much like, oh, well, fucking, who's the guy who coaches Rami at the moment? Chad Nichols has his guys eat 700 grams of protein a day. So I'm going to do that. And it's like, you know, why? Do you really need to? Is that right? Is Chad doing that right? Are these, you know, so, you know, you need to look at like.
I'm trying to think what, like, my shit stinks at the minute, having just been introducing liquid egg whites into my diet. Imagine 700 grams of protein.
That wouldn't be good.
Now.
That wouldn't be good. Yeah. Jesus.
Well, how is your other half?
Sorry?
How is your other half?
Yeah, she's sound. She's all good, man. Yeah, she's just cracking on with work, just busy with what she does. She works in a hospice, so it's quite mentally draining. So like it's end of life, like palliative care. So when she comes back, sometimes if it's been a bad day, it's like, oh, we'll sit down.
Switch off and stare at the TV.
Yeah, needs a chance to just zone
simmer out. She don't want conversation at that point, does she?
No,
next question then. What's Kelly? We've done cutting.
Oh God, yeah. What's one that you've had on yours before when you've done them?
Me, I just recently put a menstrual cycle post up about like females, and then I'm having like husbands message me asking me advice, and I'm like, mate, it's a very tough area. It's very individuality. Like, I don't know what's going to cure your missus from PMS, blah blah blah. Like she needs to be sending this question herself, because I guarantee she's not sharing half of her issues with you.
Yeah,
because it's very personal. Like,
have
her message me, and then like the one or two I have, and we've kind of gone over it, and it's probably a great post to put up, but then it was very much a post where people think that the aid around making their cycle more regular, or B, with reducing the amount of pain they're enduring, is like they almost think that there's a one clue reply. It isn't
one supplement or one adjustment or one
just this. And I'm like, I'm not. And I says this isn't a selling strategy or anything, but I'd have to work with you for probably 6 months to see how your cycle over.
Yeah, and what's causing it in certain situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, especially with competitors, they're very common, obviously, with losing it, especially with females who use PEDs. And it's one of those things where you just have to, like, it's a weird one, because it's it is just a weird one because, there's the trade-off sometimes, isn't there? Like they want to use the peds for a show. They want to do a long prep. They want to do this. How damaging and detrimental is this going to be? And are you prepared for the actual full gravity of that?
Do you understand that? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you truly understand it? And if they're like, if it's a woman who's had 2 kids and she's like sick of it, she's 30 odd years old, she's whatever, then it's like, cool, okay, well I'm more inclined to be like, okay, well let's just throw caution to the wind ever so slightly with this and just be a bit more careful, with what. And then when we're done with the show prep, we'll get it back into order.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
at least you're mindful of that, and that's there. Like, because they need to accept the ownership of that. Like,
it's a good thing that a lot of women talk about now. I know Danny Bosworth talks about it every now and then, and it's good that they talk about that because they'll understand, and when they hear it from a woman pumping out the info who's been through it the same sort of way as them, it's really good for them to and go, oh, that's why that's happening, because I've dieted 17 years in a fucking
this is another one I was saying, like one of them I was like, I really can't emphasize any emotion to it because I'm not a female, I don't experience this, I'm just going from what I've learned. Like, I have no experience of it. If we're talking about mate, I lost my libido's gone, I can't get it up, then I probably can relate and give you some guidance. But menstrual cycle, it's only from what I've learned.
Yeah. Okay, I can give you the guidelines of the info that I've got, but I might not be able to dig into
exactly.
I mean, in terms of if we actually look at like some proper like questions that we get rather than the silly cycle ones that blokes try and ask to get ready in 6 weeks for Ibiza, then like proper ones that I get, there are some quite cool ones sometimes. Definitely people asking a lot of training stuff. Like, oh, like what would you specifically do for this, or what's the best sort of thing for this? And I'm like, well, there isn't. I'm never going to be able to give you because those I have a little bit more time for, because they're clearly paying attention to good basics rather than going, what drugs can I take and just bench twice a week and hopefully I'll look massive, So I think those I pay a lot more attention to. There's loads of them that are really good. I like it when you get those sorts of ones.
I think again, then that's like, it's very personal. So they followed you for a substantial amount of time, and they're reaching out to you because they almost know that there is going to be a response and an educational reply. Where, like, for me, my clients know this. Like, if I don't know something, I'll just say I don't know. Yeah. I can reach out to the relevant person.
Yeah. I said that to people as well before about something, So if I'll just talk to Joe, or I'll talk to Callum, or I'll bounce an idea off someone. Or I'll just actually go and look it up and spend time just looking, do the research for them. That's what you're paying me for. So you're expecting me to know everything, and if I don't, then I will find out for you. I'll find out. So at least give you a good guideline of what we can do. Because
like I think we live like you said, this industry has become saturated and everyone wants to do it, and like I'd say a lot of people, even athletes, there's going to be athletes that actually give a fuck and they want to coach, and then there's going to be athletes that need to sit on their arse and be able to train and eat whenever they can, so they need something that they can sit at home and earn a living from.
And those ones aren't going to be, a lot of the time aren't going to be very good. They're going to be a waste of fucking money, and they're going to waste your time, and they're probably going to fuck you up.
Of course they are, and they've probably got a Ferrari on PCP, not Ferrari, a Mercedes on PCP, and you're probably paying for that as well. And you're probably paying for all these because they're trying to fit an image.
Yeah, it's just not. When I got into coaching, my goal is to be the best in the country. I don't have yes, coaching can be a profitable business if you do it properly.
Yeah,
which is cool, which is really sound. But like, when you get to a high end, like, do you think you're just sitting on your ass, like not keeping up to with relevant data? Like, mate, the amount that I have to fucking pay attention to, the changes, the adjustments. Like, you were showing me the sheets and stuff that you guys are doing now. I'm like, fuck me, if I'm not doing that, I need to be giving out info that is just as good. Like,
the sheets, mate. Like, let's go to the sheets. I remember a guy called Chris Wormley was what, like, I'd say was my introduction to like proper coaching at the time.
Rings a bell.
He coached Drew Walker and Cuba
for ages. Yeah, I know Chris. I know who he is. Yeah, I don't know if he still coaches though.
I don't know, but at the time, like, I used to pay him for, like, how it worked is it wasn't a monthly thing. It was, right, when are you going to come up and see me for a check-in? I'd pay him a kind of almost like, let's say, a session rate. I'd pay him to see me. We'd sit down, we'd go over pictures, and he used to take you in this dead, doomy, gloomy toilet, changing room, and it was the worst lighting. And I remember a stupid question. I was saying, how can I make my posing look better? Like, you just need more muscle, mate. You're tiny. Like, you're not going to be able to. You can't pose with no muscle. You just need more tissue. And then we went, and he literally used to sit there with a pen and paper, and he'd ask me relevant questions, and he'd write this. And then the next day or the next 48 hours, I used to receive an email with just all the information on the email, and I used to follow. And it was like, then obviously going from that, I went with Jamie Joel, who was like an Excel spreadsheet, and most of the check-ins was done through WhatsApp. And again, that was still like, from a coaching point of what I received, was still very good. And then when I like left that and I went to Callum, that's when I was like, holy shit, this is not, I won't say too much, but it was very in depth. And then from my point, again, like you just said, I was like, right, well, I don't have the same education as Callum. I don't have the same following as Jamie. And I certainly don't have the same amount of results as what probably Chris did at that time. It was like, right, so I need to provide something different. So then I looked into Sheets to collect data because I was learning. And then I look now, I've just hired Luke Miller to coach myself, No Switch Fitness. And I did his Sheets for him. So I'm now doing my check-in is off the Sheets that I created, which is a bit of a, it's almost a nuisance, because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I created this. Give me something different. But then his training plan, that's on an email, and it's phenomenal. And I'm like, there's what doesn't, the client doesn't need that. He needs something that lists A, B, and C. They're going to follow A, B, C, and the results are going to come. Like for you, like we were saying, if you have these sheets and each check-in now adds 20, 30 minutes to your day, you can't deliver the same service.
I can't. No, and one of my best traits as a coach, which I will say, like, not too arrogantly, but I am very fucking fast with replies.
Yeah.
Like, I rarely leave stuff to the day after. Rarely. And that's if it's off season and if it's a small question.
I saw in your WhatsApp 9 till 9.
Oh yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I bet you're replying.
It's not though. It's not 9 till 9. It's 6 o'clock till 9 or 6:30 till 9.
Did your partner tell you to put 9 till 9?
She told me to put 9 till 9. I'd get up at 6:30 to sort the dog out, then start work immediately, and I don't stop until 10.
10. Yeah.
When she's watching Love Island, I'm still doing another hour of work.
Yeah. That's probably because Love Island's on.
Yeah, it's because I can't watch that shit.
Yeah, no. We fall out so much. Not fall out, like. She's like, she'll try and go, oh, this just happened. I'm like, I really do not give a shit. Like if you don't want to fall out, let's not talk about it. Going back to questions.
Yeah.
What is Tom's hobby? What does Tom enjoy doing outside of coaching and life?
At the moment,
Dominoes.
No, I do a bit of painting. I paint models like a proper geek. I do a bit of gaming as well. I do play a bit of like card occasionally, but I probably will do that in a bit actually, because I'm done with work for today. So I'm just going to take my mind off it for a good
switch up,
a good hour, 2 hours. Because Sarah's missus Alita, her girlfriend Alita, plays Call of Duty, so I play Call of Duty with her. So we have a good game on there sometimes.
At least you've got one communication. I'm going to say, I bet your kill to death ratio is terrible, because you're like, oh shit, client message. Just playing COD, mate, but I'll answer quickly. You look up at the screen, you've died 4 times.
Yeah, pretty standard. Yeah, it has happened. I'm like parachuting in on Warzone, and I'm like, yeah, I'll press it'll auto do it, and I've turned auto parachute off. So I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah.
So how many guys or girls you got
this year?
Yeah, competing now.
How many have you got? You got like all at one show, aren't they? Did you say?
All at one show, yeah. That felt quite nicely.
Well, I've got 24 this year, 25.
Wow.
For the rest of the year.
That's
cool. It's cool, but it's a lot. I've got a natural client going this week. 2 weeks time. No, 2 natural clients, both competing on the same day. One in the UK, one in the USA.
Oh shit!
I barely coach any natural people, so that's a bit weird. But
do you know the USA one? Is he from overseas?
Yeah, he's in the States. He's called Coop. He's the guy I posted this morning on your Instagram. He's very, very good. He's very, very, very good. Yeah, really good. He's got typical black guy genetics. like no muscle loss at all the entire prep. Not a gram, not a minuscule. If anything, he's bigger.
You know, they almost wake up lean as fuck.
Oh, he does, just fucking like sends the pictures over, and I'm like Coop, like the only thing left to come in is your glutes. Like everything is nails.
Some of the guys I've seen is like from the rear, you know, their back, they look 3 weeks out.
Yeah.
And then from the front, they're carrying a 4-month-old baby. I'm like, what's going on? That's a few guys I've seen this year, but
like sharper from the front than
sharper from the back.
From the back.
And
I don't know. Like I think like weirdly for black guys or like mixed race guys, they I don't know if their glutes and lower back and sometimes just look a little bit softer from that. So sometimes, like, I mean, I don't know about Lionel Biecki. Do you remember Lionel Biecki?
Yes, yeah.
They always used to turn up buttery, but then I found out that it wasn't his genetics just struggling to get down there. He was like proper lazy. Like someone like Dennis James did a podcast and was like, "Yeah, I have to stop Lionel going out and eating like 20 donuts. Like I have to literally stop him doing it." Like
imagine that. Like,
mate, I couldn't do that. I couldn't fucking do that for anyone.
Imagine like
I'd just sack them off. I'd be like,
no, I can't be arsed. And there are like going back to sacking clients off. It's like I'll speak to my other half and I'll just kind of say, I've probably just waved goodbye to such and such an income a week, and I don't care. I'm not the coach for them, or I just don't have the patience to coach them. And when I say patience, let me just explain this before I sound like a pig ignorant shit. Like I don't have the patience in the sense that there's only so many times you can work with someone on manipulating and changing their plan to realizing you actually think that there's something that's going to work overnight.
When you get to that point, then you just start having to go, okay, well, this just isn't going to happen. So maybe I'm not the coach for you, and maybe some other coach needs to be either more blunt with you than I'm currently being, or maybe you need to hear exactly the same thing from another multitude of people before you realize, do you know what? I'm being a bit of a this is not their problem. This is mine. So I never really used to sack people off ever. Like I never really got to that point. This year I've ended up getting rid of 3 people on different reasons. One guy because he was just he won't listen to this. He was bullshitting me about his he was on low calories, he was doing fat burners, he was doing cardio, we were whatever, and he just wasn't getting any tighter. Yeah, I've been good with diet this week. It's all back on plan, everything. I'm like, bro, like you aren't getting any tighter. You haven't got tighter for 4 weeks. I said to him, I sent him a long message. It was just like, look, sorry, buddy, but I just don't think I'm the right coach for you. Either what I'm telling you isn't working, and I physically can't work out what's going on with your body, or you are just not adhering to it. And it's one of the two, and I don't want to say which one it is because we both know which one it is.
Yeah.
I haven't worked with however many 100 people and get them in good shape. For you to be the one person I can't do it with. So then I said, and then the other guy was because he was bullshitting and blaming his diabetes for the reason why he was, smoothing over and, I haven't lost any weight because of this. Maybe it's because of this, and then blaming his like 30 gram extra carb he had to eat to stop going to hypo, and then eventually he actually admitted it and he was like, oh yeah, I was binging all day long. I have been doing it for the past how many weeks, and I'm like, cool. So
it's like those let's say those kind of traits. They're both similar, but one of them took ownership and accepted.
Eventually.
But then,
after being prodded with a stick 50 fucking times, And
then like you got to strap these people into a chair and torture them to get like some communication from it.
It's a case of like the thing is, if he had just said to me at the start of the prep or halfway through when those things started happening, when he started just losing his head and not doing it, and said, "Look, Tom, I'm binging, I'm fucking up my diet. I think I'm probably gonna have to pull the plug here. Is that I don't think I want to do this show." If he'd gone cool, I'd have gone cool, no worries at all. But instead, he's expecting me to fix a problem that I don't know about.
Exactly.
Now, yes, that's like going into a fucking, as an electrician, going up to a fucking house and then they go, "Can you fix the plumbing?"
Just get rid of your
I can't because I don't fucking know anything about the plumbing.
Get rid of your dashboard on your car and drive 100 miles and see when you're going to stop.
Yeah, exactly. So try not to get done by a speed camera. Oh, I think that's 30 miles an hour. Like,
exactly.
It's fucking
I broke down. I don't know if it's because my fuel's low.
Fucking whatever's there. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, and that was the problem that I found. But thing is, he was a young dude, and he didn't really quite. I don't think he quite got how hard it was going to be, and expected did you know the Insta life, the whole oh, look at Chris Bumstead, he's doing this, he's a little bit tired. I'm like, you don't quite get how difficult this is at the back end of it. Yeah. We've used him as an example. Why not use him one more time? If you looked at Cal 2 weeks out from that show, when he was like, he's
sucked him.
He died. He was like fucking absolutely fucked. Like, yeah, his food didn't get super low, but that's relative to him as an individual.
Cal has two similar personalities, right? Heavy, can't bend over and put his shoes on off season. And literally 1 week out from a show, right? They're both about as grumpy and miserable as each other. So like 2 weeks out, you're going into the gym, and I'm literally there like hoping that he doesn't talk. Like, mate, I do not want, like, because I'm not like, you know, if somebody's off with me, I'll be off with them. Like that's my treat. And then because he's in 2 weeks out from his show, I'm like, I'm trying to accept that he's not off with me. He's just 2 weeks out from his show.
The difficult thing to do. Steve used to do the same thing. Steve Phillips used to do the same thing. Very, very arsey on his preps. Just never dealt with dieting well. He wanted to do it, but never dealt with it well. I remember farting, right? And it did absolutely sting. It absolutely caught me off guard, and he goes, "You smelly bastard," and he pushes my shoulder. I don't think he realized how much he fucking pushed me. How about fell, and I took a second because I wanted to pick a 20-kilo plate up and swing it around his head. And then when he's heavy and his strength's phenomenal, but he's probably going to leave the gym with his knee feeling fucked the next day. It's like, yeah, Cal, maybe you shouldn't put that extra 40 kilo on the bar, mate. Like, it's probably going to rinse you for the next few weeks. Do you want to slow down just a touch?
Yeah, come on. You're 100 kilo, you're 100 pounds heavier, but that bar's still the same weight as what you're putting on it. Like, come on. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, with obviously Cal being, what was you saying? When he died, the two 2 weeks before the show.
Oh yeah, when he was fucking wrote off. Like I don't think people quite get that. That's pretty much as far as you have to go to get that level of conditioning. Like and you have to really be on the edge. And if you're not programmed for it, and your brain and then, like I always say to people as well, I say this and I do mean it, I don't mean this like negatively, if bodybuilding isn't for you in the competitive sense, that's perfectly fine, because we're all a bit weird, the ones that do it anyway, and we sort of like, we like that and we know it's coming, and we're like, all right, here it comes. We sort of suck it up and go, this is going to happen, this is the prep, and here we go. Whereas if you're expecting it to be this glamorous lifestyle of slightly hungry but absolutely shredded, and you're still ready to get good workouts in, I'm sorry, mate, it just is not how it happens. You're going to feel shit, you're going to feel wrote off, you're going to be tired, and your strength will go down. And if you don't accept that towards the back end of it, people saying, oh, I can progress my lifts all the way into a show, they've
probably never been there. They've probably never hit their personal best. They probably don't know what a personal best is.
Exactly.
The world
or if you're able to do it, your genetics are amazing. You just timed everything absolutely on the money.
Because I'll have I see it all the time, like hitting new numbers. I'm like, you've only just started a new training cycle. What do you mean new numbers?
New numbers, yeah. It's just a progression from last week. It might be a new number, but don't call it that yet.
Don't call it a PB. You're fucking 20 years old.
Yeah, don't call it a PB, because your D-ball's still kicking in, and like shit. Like fucking it's the D-ball's PP, all right? It's the Diana Ball's person.
I remember my last prep, and Cal had a reverse band hack in there on the Cybex. And I knew it in my head. Like, I remember I posted it on Instagram actually, and it was like six plate aside, and then there was 10 kilos on the handles, but the band was thicker. No one saw the band. I made sure no one saw the band, but it was a PB. But it went from a purple band that was about this thick to a green band that was about this thick. No one saw the band, but it was a PB. So that was the Instagram lifestyle. Felt strong as shit when commenting.
Yeah. Just ripping it up. Yeah.
Still got the shittest legs.
It's like when people put two bands on a Cybex hack squat, and they're like, oh yeah, PB, and I'm like, I don't think so.
Surely, because I've probably, when I remember when back 2017.
When did you stop competing?
I did my first show in 2014.
And when did you stop?
It's 2018.
What did you compete in?
I've only done 3 shows.
No, but what did you compete in?
UK BFF.
Oh, okay. Men's bodybuilding, or?
Yeah. I did, the first one was, fucking hell, mate, I weighed 61 kilo.
Well,
I was a starved child. Jamie Dorigo coached me for that. And the community, like, no offense, because I think what happened there was I was a tight bastard. And when it come to agreeing price, like I said, I've got this, and we just did this, and 11 weeks out, I paid him a certain price. And probably like, I probably rinsed what service he was going to deliver for that price within the first 5 weeks. Because like, again, you're only going to get what you pay for. So I paid a very small number for him to coach me, and then not again. And then when we got closer to the show, one of his bestest friends come out of prison, and then communication just died. And it was probably because he was making friends with Thing. And on the day, I was like left in limbo, and there was no way I was never going to place. Like I was anorexic. Those like 3 weeks out, like going back to the cow thing, like 3 weeks out, I should have probably started refeeding and
putting your food up.
Yeah, and I didn't. I stayed at the same food. We kind of reduced thingy, and then I ended up in a cell for a day, which I think the stress that probably had
didn't do anything
into losing more. And then obviously I had a heart attack in 2018, and I was adamant because I chose that year. I said I want to compete, and Cal kind of says I wouldn't do it, and I was like, sod you, mate. Like, I put this down as I'm doing this. And it was when UK BFF kind of went downhill and everyone was going so like it felt quite lucky on a good day. I walked away with a trophy, second place, and an invite to the final, but I weren't going to do the final because
what weight class was you in?
That was the Inter 85?
Yeah,
but into 80s, I can't remember. It was
80s,
yeah. And I think what it was is I think you could compete up to 85 kilo, something like that. And I was
middleweights.
Yeah, like something like that. But I was probably, because I know this for a fact, because after I competed, we was going to Vegas like 3 weeks later, and I said to myself, I'm going to increase my food a little bit, but I'm going to carry on with my expenditure and stuff. And then I remember sending Cal, because I coached myself, but I took like a lot of advice from Cal. I remember sending Cal the pictures of the morning of going to Vegas, and he says, "This is what you should have got on stage like."
Yeah, you find that sometimes with over dieted, don't you? You see them a week later when they've just been a bit like chilled on the diet and a bit more like relaxed and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, fuck, I should have put you on like this.
And this is I lost a lot of weight, but I was heavier. But again, going back to that is like I'd happily compete again, but I think now my vision and like yourself is I want by the end of next year or 2023 at least 10 clients to have placed first place, and then I want like,
that's a great goal. That's a really good goal.
It's just really good top plate. If I can get 10, then I have no aspirations. But they've got the 3 guys competing this year. I like, not even from a coaching point. From people I've said, they said they'll do well from how they're looking. It's just obviously how we manage and what the judges are looking for on the day. And then Magda, one of my female clients, I reckon she'll smash it in the coming years. She'll do, I think we'll go bikini, and then it'll be figure. That would be the goal. But I probably won't be going to your standards just yet, but I'll keep picking your mind and say, right, can I shove this person in this class? What do you think?
To be fair, I'm all right with that. That's one of my things. Like me and Joe and that, like I've spoken about that sort of thing before. Like what class someone's gonna suit specifically.
It's hard, isn't it?
But if you've been around bodybuilding long enough and competitive bodybuilding long enough, then you've been to fucking count. I don't even know how many shows I've been to. You just start seeing trends.
I just don't think I'd like. No, this is no offense to PCA, but I don't think I'd have a female athlete do PCA because I just wouldn't know where to fucking stick them.
That's why. Well, PCA I would, because I would just about know where to put them. But with FitX, I'm starting to getting a bit like that, where I'm like, I'll compete my blokes with you, but I'm not too sure about women because I don't really understand the criteria.
I'm glad you said that about FitX because I'm not even like delved into that.
I don't know what they want. I know. I'm starting to get it, but I still don't not 100%, and they're getting better with their judging. It's more consistent. It was a bit inconsistent to start off with. It's definitely getting better. But I'm starting to get it. But with the men's classes, they are on the money every time. Every time, exactly how I would have it.
It's so rewarding to see, though, isn't it? You know, from like somebody
on the money. Yeah. There's no fuckery. There's no fuckery at all.
I couldn't replace any judge in anything, because like there's a lot I don't know. But when I look from my side, I'm like watching them on stage, and I'm like, how? Like what was where was the decision made? And then you also almost kind of go down the line of politics and who's what. And then you're trying to avoid that, and you're like looking, you think with Fitex, the results I've seen on their Instagram page and this, I'm like, fair play, yeah.
Pretty spot on, pretty fucking spot on every time, yeah.
Right, go play COD.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go play some Call of Duty. Yeah,
I've got Connor Wrenchin on in a bit. You're gonna do a podcast with him. He's the next guest.
Yeah,
I'm gonna like pick his brain on. He basically he asked to see if he'd come on, and I was like, brilliant, fucking awesome, let's do it.
British champion.
He is. He's got 2 swords now, hasn't he?
Yeah, beat my guy Chris at the thingy.
And then I think what would be interesting is because like I think he seems very driven towards pro card next year or whatever, and I'd like to pick his mind on because again, mindset, like if he's got that, he's definitely got a killer mindset. It's now like what battles does he have in life where, let's say, close friends that don't essentially agree with this sport, anyway.
That'd be cool. That'd be good to listen to that. Well, awesome.
But right, man, enjoy COD, put your phone down.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you very much. A pleasure to meet you.
I really enjoyed that. And
well, I'll catch up with you at a show sometime soon, I'm sure.
You on Sunday? You going Body?
No, I'm not at that, but I'm at Fitex next week. And then following that, I'll be at Graftism.
I'll see you at that one then.
Fantastic. Awesome, mate.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
I will see you soon. Thanks.
See you soon, buddy. Thank you.